So with still no idea what Prime 4's story can be, many have speculated so many potential ideas and directions over where this game could go. For me, I'd like the game to continue on the focus of Phazon, as it is the main driving force between the 3 main Prime games. But on the other hand, I don't want Prime 4 to just involve Phazon out of nowhere. It would cheapen and ruin Prime 3's ending. It would be lame if there was like a super duper secret stash of Phazon despite Samus purging the galaxy of the substance. But TMT, what? You want Prime 4 to be about Phazon, but you don't want them to add Phazon? Are you dense? Make up your mind. I know, it's a little contradictory, but I actually have a pretty cool idea or premise of what Prime 4's story can be. What if Prime 4 explores the origin of Phazon? So please feel free to subscribe for more Metroid content, and let's get started. So here's the idea. With the galaxy being cleansed of Phazon, this would cause an issue for some of the space pirates, with a portion of them investing so much time, resources, and energy on the Phazon experiments, they'll want this substance back. The main high command may tell the forces to focus on other projects, but these pirates will splinter off, as they're obsessed with the Phazon. It could even be a cool little plot point where the space pirates are actually obsessed due to symptoms of Phazon withdrawal due to how enveloped they were with the substance before its sudden destruction. These pirates would go out of their way to find the origin points of Phazon in hopes of either finding some more Phazon or even learning about the secrets of creating Phazon itself. A couple months passed after the ending of Prime 3 and reports of missing vessels surged near an abandoned planet. Any attempts to send recon to investigate have failed, so it's up to Samus to investigate the planet. There, it would play out like any other Prime game. Samus explores the planet, looking for keys to access the game's final area. We would scan various ruins and structures left behind to learn more about the planet's history and lore. And there is so many possibilities with the idea of exploring the origin points of Phazon and its creation. We can learn that the people were spiteful or bitter, probably due to them being defeated by maybe possibly warlike Chozos, and they used some dark or forbidden art to summon a plague to enact their revenge across the galaxy. Maybe it was a result of a lone scientist filled with hubris and pride, wanting to create life, only to create the sentient slime that doomed his people. Perhaps it was a religious group who eventually lost faith and punished by a divine higher power with the Great Poison. There's limitless potential that can be either a focus on science, mythicism, or a mixture of both for the creation of Phazon. Although low-key, I like the idea of like an ancient race summoning Phazon out of like spite using forbidden dark magic or science just for revenge. It would be like a cool little plot point of like the Chozo's actions having consequences because of what they did caused the Phazon stuff, and then it would kind of like parallel like them creating the Metroids, which caused this stuff to happen. But there's so much potential with like the background, literally anything could be said about the origin of Phazon and it would still work somehow. The backstory can even be enhanced if when Samus scans specific relics or enters key points of the story, she can get visions of the past and see firsthand the events that led up to the Phazon creation and aftermath. Potential backstory aside though, I can see the narrative adding elements of horror. Well, more than usual. With the concept of space pirates desperate for Phazon, the main conflict could be that the space pirates are trying to recreate Phazon, and in doing so experimenting with the creatures on the planet, creating unstable mutations, much more unstable and ugly and even grotesque compared to normal Phazon mutations because these are just experiments. Samus wouldn't know what's happening at first, but after some clear signs of the presence of space pirates, as well as potentially encountering an old abandoned lab full of dead Galactic Federation recon troopers, she'll figure out that the space pirates are attempting to recreate Phazon and she has to stop their plans. Along the way, we'll encounter mutated creatures, space pirates, and even some corrupted Galactic Federation troopers as we make our way through the game. With a new lost civilization, this means we'll have new items. For some potential ideas, I can see a visor for seeing radiation being implemented, and have it grayscaled with blue highlights to be a cool callback to the hyper mode vision. Finding dropped recon equipment or abandoned space pirate tech could even give us some new beams, armor, and mobility upgrades. Some cool ideas I got would be like maybe a Gatling gun found by the dropped recon equipment from the Galactic Federation, since we all love that image of like Samus with a Gatling gun in her second hand. Maybe some abandoned space pirate tech could justify something like the Shadow Armor, a more stealth-like suit that allows for better sneaking in and espionage. And we can justify the Shadow Armor being like the remnants of like the Shadow Trooper armor from like Prime 1. And for the Morph Ball, maybe the Hover Ball, an upgrade that lets the Morph Ball hover past gaps in Morph Ball pipes, maybe, potentially. Okay, this all sounds neat, exploring the origin point of Phazon, learning about its history, stopping space pirates from recreating it, but what about Dark Samus? Well, what if Dark Samus was actually here the whole time? After her defeat, she would survive the explosion, but now in a severely weakened state. She would be forced to lurk inside a space pirate since there is no Phazon to heal her. She influences the one space pirate to cause the group to splinter off from the space pirates and search for Phazon so she can finally heal herself. The twist of Dark Samus surviving would probably be an endgame reveal, but it'd be pretty cool if like scans and logs kind of hinted of her existence throughout the game. Like a scan that implies that the leader who splintered from the space pirates was being guided somehow to this new planet that they've never heard of existing. Or that at times there seems to be like a very familiar dark aura that is very similar to their past Dark Hunter leader. The final boss would be Dark Samus, and since by the time we would reach the final area, the space pirates would perfected the substance and allow himself and Dark Samus' essence to be revitalized. It would be an intense fight, but after Samus' victory, it would mark the ultimate conclusion of the Phazon crisis. These space pirates are the only force interested in Phazon, and now they're gone. The small amount of Phazon that was created is the last in the galaxy. The main villain of the arc, the Metroid Prime / Dark Samus, is finally gone. All that is left to do is to initiate the self-destruct sequence of the lab to ensure the secrets and history of Phazon are lost to time, and also be a good excuse to add the obligatory self-destruct sequence. And with that, it marks the end of the arc. At least, that's one way I envision the story. The story of a desperate band of space pirates trying to recreate Phazon due to the subtle but present influence of Dark Samus seems so natural, to be honest. Again, I don't want Phazon to just exist in the game when the previous story ended with the galaxy-wide purge of the substance, and after 3 games of Phazon wreaking havoc in the galaxy, maybe it's about time we actually learn about the backstory of it. But then again, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think though? You think the story sounds cool? Does it make sense? Is it unnecessary? I know the idea of exploring the origins of Phazon could kind of ruin the mystery and allure of the substance to some of you guys, and maybe revealing that Dark Samus is the main villain is kind of crossing into Dr. Wily / Sigma levels of redundancy. But whatever your opinion is, I'd like to hear it in the comment section below. And if you like the idea of Prime 4's story, feel free to check out the video above. A video where I talk about my ideas of like Metroid Fusion sequel, my ideas and thoughts of like a potential Dread story. Oh, and of course check out my Super Metroid review. I took so long making that, and I would really appreciate if you check it out. With that being said though, I'm the Metroid Trainer. Hope you like, favorite, subscribe, and stick around for next time, because I'll be seeing you later.